Currently, there are no African Americans in the Senate. Do you think this might have anything to do with why there are not more legislation being created to ensure an efficient education regardless of socioeconomic status?
Yes, because all legislation is passed through somebody that has an agenda. So if nobody has the agenda in mind to help black students in poor neighborhoods, then it'll never get passed. If there's nobody to lobby for them, then it'll never be picked up.
What's that word? Lobby?
There's no one to lobby for them?
Right. Thank you.
Black and white children have equal opportunity in education, and why?
Well, it really depends on demographic and where you're from, because like if the child doesn't put forth the effort and the parents don't put forth the effort to help the child, then they don't have the resources.
Do you think black and white children have an equal opportunity in education, and why?
I actually don't think that black and white children have an equal opportunity in education, simply for the fact that we have to realize most of our fellow black people are underrepresented and they're under-resourced. We live in communities where the public education is based off of property tax, and a lot of the black communities that we live in don't have high property taxes at all. So therefore, our education.
Racism, just know that it does exist. You know, we don't know what the kids face these days, especially the youth.
Very much so.
Why?
Why? I mean, it's very much evident in the disparities and in resources that you find in education. Different counties, different tax brackets, different funding. You know, simple. That's it.
Lack of resources, lack of mentorship too. That we have.
Do you think that if the number of African American educators increased, the number of African Americans graduating from high school would increase?
I definitely think that would be the case, just because I know for myself, I had one African American educator in my school, and he really was the guide to get me to college and get me to understand that this is important for myself and for my people.
Having an African American teacher, if you did, what subject did they teach? Do you think if the number of African American educators increased, the number of African Americans graduating from high school would increase as well?
Hello. Yes, I definitely remember my first and only African American teacher in grade school through high school, and her name was Miss Chapman. She taught us all of our subjects because she was our homeroom teacher, English, math, everything. It was second grade. And I definitely believe that if there were more African American teachers, the rate of high school graduation for African Americans would increase, because people would be able to see themselves as someone who can be a professional. Thank you.
I remember having one African American teacher. Well, I had two, but one that was you could readily identify as an African American teacher.
I think would help increase the number of African Americans going to college.
I think that if children's parents were more informed about the importance of children going to college, of their children going to college, they would enforce it in their children, and we would have a better increase of African Americans going to school.
There are a number of strategies that would increase the number of African Americans going to college. For one, there has to be more after-school programs for African Americans to encourage professional development as well as leadership skills. Also, if schools supported parents more, as far as maybe providing them with like little helpful tips on how to better help their scholar, like to complete their homework. And also, there has to be more funding and resources put in public schools. So those are just a few of the strategies that could be used to encourage more African American students.
Why did you choose an HBCU rather than a predominantly white institution?
Well, with Morehouse, I just chose Morehouse because of its heritage. Martin Luther King, Martin Luther King, and people of that nature impacted their community so well, and I felt like being here, my son, my children will be able to come here and be able to follow the same legacy that I wanted to be a part of.
I chose an HBCU rather than a PWI because I wanted the black experience. I feel like in past years in elementary school and middle school, I didn't really have that environment, and I kind of wanted to be submerged in an atmosphere of beautiful, intelligent black females and males, but specifically Spelman College because it nurtures black women.
81% of Americans believe that too little money is spent on schools. Do you agree with this statement, and why? If so, why?
Yeah, I do, because
honestly, with the money that is spent, it's usually focused on certain communities, considering the fact that most education is funded by local property tax. So like there's large disparities in between, I guess, community to community, district to district. And I feel like if we equalize it, fiscally equalize public education, and also put a little bit more money into it, it'll allow us to, up the resources.
What are some of the obstacles that African Americans face when trying to pursue a higher education?
Not having enough money, utensils, books. Oh, resources. Why I say utensils? That's resources, utensils. They don't have the will to learn.
Americans in the Senate, do you think that this might have anything to do with why there are not more legislation being created to ensure an efficient education regardless of socioeconomic status?
I think political representation has a lot to do with the issues that emerge, the public discussion, and the policies that are passed to affect the lives of people. When our voice, our experience, and particularly the value of the 104 HBCUs are not noted on the floor of the Senate, it becomes a greater challenge. So absolutely, I think there's a direct correlation. When you're absent, you are often not counted.